In my quest for unsolved mysteries, I've delved into the darkest corners of the internet to uncover cases untouched by other crime channels. Among them is the 1987 quadruple murder of the Dardenne family, a chilling tale that continues to disturb me to this day. These unsolved cases leave me feeling very unsettled, just knowing that the person or persons that did these heinous acts could still be out there right now, possibly even watching my video and almost getting off on the fact that they got away with it. Murder is the ultimate sin, but there's something about these unsolved murder cases that involve the sexual act that are just unbearable. Tonight's case is one of those. This is the unsolved sexual assault and murder of Robert Boutin. Before we get started, be sure to stab the subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any new investigations. It was August 1979 when the Boutin family moved from Reading, Massachusetts, near Boston, to Vero Beach, Florida, for better job opportunities for the family. Part of the family was 20-year-old Robert, who was enjoying Florida very much, but he didn't want to just stay in Vero Beach, so he jumped on multiple Greyhound buses to travel around the Sunshine State. Shortly after arriving in Vero Beach that same month, Robert took a Greyhound bus to Fort Lauderdale for a weekend exploration trip. According to his father, Alvin, Robert would also be looking for work while there. After arriving back to Vero Beach, Robert was already planning his next trip. This time, he would be visiting the fast-paced beaches of Miami. Alvin tried to discourage his son from going to the crime-infested Miami after a family friend who resides in Miami told him it's not safe, and for Robert to go somewhere safer like Sarasota instead. Quote, "Don't send him here. Send him to Sarasota or any place else, but not here," the friend told Alvin. But Robert had made his mind up. Quote, "I tried to tell him, but you can't tell a 20-year-old anything," Alvin told the Miami Herald. Robert packed up 3 pieces of luggage, grabbed his fishing pole, $100 in cash, and embarked on his journey. Alvin begrudgingly drove his son to the bus station. Robert, seeing that his father was clearly worried about his safety, promised he would be calling him the next morning around breakfast time to check in. Sadly, that call never came, and this would be the last time Alvin would see his son alive. This episode is sponsored by W Energy. Fuel your day with W Energy, the go-to drink mix for sustained power and focus. Head to w.gg now and use the promo code Staircase Stories or click the link below to grab yours with an exclusive 10% discount. It was reportedly around midnight on September 9th, 1979 when a 20-year-old Robert Boutin stepped off the bus in Miami. Across the street from the bus station was the 30-plus acre Bicentennial Park. Little did Robert know, he was entering one of the most dangerous parks in the country. You see, Bicentennial Park was created just a few years prior in 1976 and initially cost $5 million. There's only one problem: the design. The intent was to make the park a sanctuary of sorts, a place for people to go to get away from the high-paced city. A piece published in the Miami Herald in 2001 by Beth Dunlop sums it up well. Quote, "Bicentennial Park has been held hostage for almost a quarter century now, a victim of politics, bad design, and misplaced values. It could be Miami's grandest green space, a bayfront park that would allow us to celebrate history and culture, nature, and architecture. But from its opening in 1977, Bicentennial Park has been walled off from the city. The large berms facing Biscayne Boulevard, an imposing disincentive to enter. Though the intent was to make the 34-acre park a sanctuary, a retreat in a busy city, the effect was the opposite. The design, and the host of crimes soon after the opening, scared people off. The park was left to deteriorate," end quote. Shortly after the park opened, a 56-year-old man was brutally beaten to death, dragged to the edge of the park, and dumped in the water. A 29-year-old woman sitting in a park bench was sexually assaulted and robbed. The attack was reported to have occurred while park rangers were on duty. The city seemingly did not want to pay law enforcement to patrol the park around the clock. When they were active, the rangers would patrol the park, but only until 10 p.m. when the park closed. Then, the park is completely unsupervised. That, coupled with the park being shielded from the outside world due to the design, it became the perfect haven for criminals. For the first 2 years, park rangers were paid by a CETA grant. However, when it expired, it was not renewed. Even when they were on patrol, the park rangers had virtually no legal power, being unable to arrest anyone or even carry a gun, making it nearly impossible to keep the dangerous area safe. Some patrolmen reportedly didn't even want to patrol the entire park in fear of their own lives. Quote, the rangers know they could be murdered themselves walking across the park at night, end quote, said policeman Charlie Taylor, who patrolled the park on horseback 2 days a week. Even the park manager, Al Landry, says he doesn't go in the park after it closes. Quote, it's not safe after the park closed at 10 p.m., end quote. But again, Robert had no idea he was entering the danger zone. According to investigators, Robert exited the bus station around midnight and immediately walked across the street to the park. What happens next is only pieced together by the autopsy of Robert's body. Within a matter of hours of arriving in Miami, Robert Boutin was sexually assaulted and beaten to death. The autopsy report shows that the killer bashed Robert's head against the wood in the playground area. Quote, it appears the killer may have used the victim's head as a battering ram, said Assistant County Medical Examiner Dr. Charles Wetley. Robert's blood was splattered on the wooden beams used by children to climb and play on. The body showed signs of sexual assault. Robert's lifeless body lied there until noon, when a passerby saw the body. Investigators found one of Robert's expensive running shoes in a trash can not too far from the body. Inside of the shoe was a $20 bill. His luggage and fishing pole were never found, although detectives say he may have left them in the bus station locker. Alvin was called to identify his son's body. After seeing his son's battered face, he said, quote, when they catch him, I just like 10 minutes alone with the man who did this, end quote. Why was Robert Boutin assaulted and murdered within hours of arriving in Miami? It seems to not have been a robbery, as his high-priced running shoes and the cash were left behind. This case has still never been solved. The body of Robert Boutin was flown back to Boston, where he was laid to rest. I want to give a quick thank you to Reddit user Unflickering Flame for bringing this case to my attention. Thank you for joining me on the staircase. Until next time.